So you might have clicked on this video thinking that you have tried almost everything. You might try to be present, you might try those conversation starters and everything. And you feel like you have tried almost every single thing to be charismatic. You feel like sometimes you are that person, sometimes you are not. It's like, it just depends on the time. You might like, oh shit, it might be that person that I feel a certain way, or it's like this specific place that will feel charismatic. And the only thing that's stopping you from actually unlocking that stuff, it's this one thing. And when you actually break that barrier, you're gonna see a lot of progress. You might be asking like, "Oh, who is this guy? Who is this guy who fucking brown guy who saying things like, oh, who are you, bro?" So the thing is, you might be asking that for, and I completely respect you, of course. The thing is, 2 years ago, I was like, I didn't even imagine I was gonna be here. Like, I was that shy. I was like, couldn't say even hi to people. It was like that bad. And it was like those moments, when I think about it, like today I went through all those photos and was almost crying as to like, damn, I've changed so much in just few years, 3 years. I've changed this much.
La ética se propone como una reflexión sobre nosotros mismos, lo cual implica también a los otros, ya que son con quienes compartimos nuestra vida, son quienes definen lo que somos y el tipo de persona que queremos ser.
And I was so grateful of that person who intended to become better. Of course, there's a lot of shit to learn, man. I'm still like small compared to what there's things in life. But if I can do it, so can you. And it's not about just boring confidence. That's what I learned. One of the specific things I learned is like to be charismatic, you didn't know, I can't say the word. You don't need to born a certain way or be a certain way or have some things already implemented when you were born, right? It doesn't work like that. The only way, we think that some people are just naturally charismatic is because they were programmed that way. And it's a bad word, of course. The program that way. What the hell? It's a bad word, of course, programmed that way. But the way they were, the way they grew up, the environment they were in, that specifically made the person they are. If you actually think about it. But if you had like, let's say, really really bad childhood or things you had to go through, those shit affects you being charismatic, talking to people, and all that shit. So when you realize that those small things are affecting you, and when you get rid of those small things, right? And one thing I want to talk to, one of the biggest barriers that's stopping a lot of people nowadays is the actual self-doubt and overthinking. And when you realize, and ask yourself, why does having the self-doubt and overthinking even comes from? Where are these thoughts coming from? Let's say you were like born in a rich family, not rich family, but in a family that were like really, really like supportive, where everything was healthy and everything, let's say. Do you think you might have been a different person? Of course, because okay, I don't know, but still, like it's gonna the probability of you being more charismatic or being better in life would have been higher, right? So understanding that our environment or things or people around us actually affect the way and our governance our life, of course, almost. It's understanding that look, once you want to understand this thing, right, the environment is really, really crucial. You can start understanding, look, the people I'm hanging around with, and the content I'm watching, and all that stuff can affect the way I think, the way I go throughout my day, can affect my future life. Now, I'm not saying to actually be hateful or have hatred towards people, like people around you who made you the way you are right now. It's not their fault. It's nobody's fault. It works like that. Now that you're aware of this, right? You're aware, like, okay, it's not my fault. Of course, everything Todd, don't say it's not my fault, nobody's fault, but it's your 100% responsibility what you do from now on. Understanding this information, right? I told you this information, right? I told you this information, and now you don't do anything about it. That's gonna be like kind of be in there in your self-doubt telling you, oh, look, you know you have to do this, but you're not doing this. Overthinking everything. Let's say you're thinking a social situation, right? Let's say you want to say certain things, but your brain just stops you from even doing that, right? Let's say you want to make a move or anything. It just stops you. It's kind of like paralyzing, right? Like freezing and everything. The reason why our brain does that, and if you actually think about it, the reason why it does is because it's trying to protect us. That subconscious mind, there's a difference between subconscious and conscious mind. I'm not gonna go really, really in depth about it. It's like the subconscious mind is trying to protect you from the thing that might have happened, like might have happened in the past, that you're not consciously aware right now. That's trying to protect you from not going through that same pain for that, right? So understanding like, look, it's trying to protect me, but if I want to like grow, right? If I want to grow to that ideal self, I want to become this person. Like I want to be this charismatic person who's at ease, doesn't feel as anxiety, or can connect with anybody. To do that, you have to face those fears. Actually, you need to face those fears because you have to realize it's like the only way the person can achieve something is to go past through that fear. But understanding, of course, some people say like fear is bad, but if you change the meaning about it, right, fear is actually a compass to your life. Think about it. It's like the fear, the thing you love, the thing you really want is just one step from the fear. The fear is stopping you. So fear tells you where you need to go. See, you just switch the fucking thing. You just switch it, not analyze, of course, not analyze, but think about it. What what's the thing that you really want? And then ask yourself, what's stopping me? So of course, it's gonna be fear. But you have to realize what fear is that. Then understanding why do I have. And all that process is a big thing, but you now having that awareness that look, I have the power to face that fear. Now, if I don't do anything about this, then now it's gonna be hard. So that one thing that's stopping is self-doubt and the actual overthinking. So now in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how to get rid of that. So specifically, look, there's two ways. Let's say you're in an interaction, you're talking to people. I'm going to tell you two, what do you call that shit? Forgot the word. There's two ways you can go about it. In the moment, or when you after the actual interaction. So in the moment, you can start questioning yourself, like not questioning yourself, but challenging those negative thoughts you have. Let's say, all of a sudden you have this negative thought. Let's say, I'm not worthy enough to talk to this person. Or let's say, they're gonna judge me if I say this thing. I really want to say it. I want to interact. But if I say this, if I come across awkward or embarrass myself, something's gonna happen. Ask yourself why. Is this real? Is there any evidence? If so, what evidence is there? Because I realize, as I said before, it's trying to protect you. It's gonna protect you from not going through the same thing it went before, right? So asking yourself these questions and separating yourself from the thoughts is so crucial. And of course, it's hard because when you're in the moment, you're having all this fucking body when going all the way around, like your body is just going so fast. You're not even thinking at that moment. So that's why there's this exercise. Being in the moment is hard. That's why being in the present is also crucial. So challenging those negative thoughts, and then after challenging those negative thoughts, you need to be present. After questioning that negative thought, you need to be present and shift the focus you're having on yourself, everything to the other person, everything. Like any thought comes, just go back to that. That's why mindfulness and being in the present is really crucial when you're interacting. You don't overthink almost everything as being self-conscious or being insecure about yourself in that moment, because you will never ever connect. So do that, of course. Understanding this two-step, like challenge the negative thoughts out, right? When you have those negative thoughts, just challenge it. Check. Second, shift your focus from yourself to the other person and being in the present, right? Now, let's say in the moment you can't feel like you can actually do this. You still feel like love anxiety. You're going through a lot of shit. Like you can't think in the moment. Your mind just goes back. You don't know if I should do this or not. You just can't do these two things in the moment. So what helped me was like after going through that thing, let's say I couldn't do in the moment. What I did was like after the interaction that I had, I go back to my home or anywhere that I was there, right? Stayed there and did these three things that helped me a lot. And I'm gonna specifically tell which ones those are, right? And understanding that, look, accepting the fear, accepting that I was having this, right? It's not something like out of this world. Like, this is for me. Like, why is this happening to me? But acknowledging that I had this fear, that about this fear, like let's say this fear of self-doubt, this overthinking, accepting and acknowledging that really helps you from changing yourself. A person cannot change until they accept the current version of themselves, the past version of themselves, and then grow. That's why foundations is really, really crucial. That's why I don't like to like build your social skills and everything. Like you might have tried, right? You try like, oh, I want to learn this skill, I want to learn that, but you already know what to do. But when you have to go through that interaction, you feel like, damn, I can't perform. I can't do anything. It's like if somebody even gives you wrong or facial expression or give you something, right? Everything crumbles. You know why? There's something deeper. You need to realize something, and it's your foundation. All the fears you have, you need to actually understand them and overcome them one by one, and actually changing your self-image for that. Second step, after like acknowledging the fears and everything, you need to identify the actual triggers and patterns, because you have to realize the interactions you have is every single time, and there's a pattern that you need to catch. There's a pattern that every single time it happens. Let's say, what is the trigger? Why this event? Like understanding that trigger and finding the pattern. Okay, what is it? What is the pattern here? Understanding the pattern here can help you identify what's causing that trigger, and then quickly just go through that, understanding the trigger and the pattern. And third is reinforcing positive experiences. It doesn't matter how small, it doesn't matter how small of effort, because here's what I tell my clients, right? I tell them, don't look for the wins you think you need. Look for the wins that like the effort you put in. So what I put wins as is like the effort that I put in terms of actually overcoming this. So instead of just like, well, I never said hi before, or never saw somebody in their eyes if they're like fucking cute or hot, right? And even if I did that, it doesn't matter how bad it went. I tried. The effort. That's the win here. And from there you build, of course, when you're like, there's nobody, you need to like do this really, really slowly. So you can do it like having those small wins and reinforcing those positive beliefs you have instead of focusing on the negative. Here's the big thing you need to realize, right? I don't know if you've heard this about this quote that is like where attention goes, energy flows. So we have two ways to go about here. You can think like the negative about not failing, or you can think about succeeding. It's the same thing. It's the same thing like not failing and succeeding. Both things are the same thing, but the other one is just negative. Let's say you want to talk to this girl. Like, I want to like embarrass myself, right? It's also about like the opposite of embarrassment, of course. That's negative. I want to succeed by talking to her. Like understanding that when you shift your focus from negative, right, to positive, it changes the energy you bring on, the attitude you have bring on. So here's the thing. I'm not this is going tangent here, but understanding the positive things you focus on, no matter how wrong it's going, because at first it's gonna be so hard. That's the thing. You need to break that cycle. You need to break that cycle. In order to do that, you need to build those small wins at first. You need to build those small wins first. So those are the things that I want to tell you. The in moment, in the present, and then later in the day, you can do these things to actually get rid of self-doubt that's causing you and that's stopping you from actually being the charismatic guy you want to be. So if you found this helpful and you found like this is kind of like helpful, like it gave you some things to try, right? If you liked it, I think I have a whole community downstairs, down in the link in the description. You can just check it out. It's for completely for free. And of course, you can want to talk to me one on one. There's a link in the description too. So yeah, that's that. Take care.